Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Deb C. And place to be, it's Deb C. Bloop, that's me. Boop, Deb C. Hey guys, happy Friday. Excuse me there. I hope everybody is had a wonderful week and is having a great day. I have my water, and it is the weekend. It is the weekend. It is beautiful out. So let's get into this video. Yeah, I did a thing this week where I actually went outside into the daylight, into the outside, away from my house after work. That has not happened, I think, since probably 2019 or since the lockdown started. So yeah, social anxiety is a bitch sometimes. So I decided, hey, let's do it. Let's get out of the house. Let's go see a movie. So I went to see the movie that a lot of people were talking about. That is Obsession, the horror movie. I am typically not a horror. I should have said the rest of the word instead of saying I'm typically not a horror girl. A horror. Enunciation matters. A horror girly. You know, I'm just not a big fan of being super scared. But I thought, listen, I've heard nothing but amazing things about this movie. Like, I have not heard one bad review. So let's try it. Let's do it. Went out. It was a Wednesday. I went out to my local AMC. And I was like, hello, I'm an A-lister. I'm here. I figure I'm paying money for this. Let's get my money's worth. So I went to see it. I was expecting it to be not full because it was by the time everything finished, by the time like all the trailers finished, it's probably started about 6:30, 6:35 on Wednesday night. I was really expecting no one to be there. I was so wrong. It was jam-packed. And it wasn't just jam-packed with people my age and old heads. It was jam-packed with teenagers. Listen, nothing against young people, but I'm typically not a fan. There are some teenagers that, are lovely, that, don't act out and start screaming and yelling and making a fool. But it was jam-packed, and I was sitting next to like 3 teenage boys. So I was like, oh, come on. But I made it through. Well, obviously I'm here. I made it through. They were fine. But let's get on to enough about that. You're like, girl, stop. Let's hear about the movie. Okay. So in case you didn't know, Obsession is in the horror genre. Listen, for all my friends out there and viewers out there, well, if you're a viewer, if you're watching, then you're a friend. But for anyone out there who loves scary movies, I'm looking directly at you, Kristen Burns, because my good friend Kristen, she absolutely is a Halloween like scary movie girly the whole way. Go see this. Go see it. The horror genre is really having a time right now. I mean, we had Hokum, we have Obsession. Coming out tonight is Backrooms. We also have Passenger out. I believe an Evil Dead movie is coming out. If you are a fan of scary movies and of horror movies, this is it. This is the time for you. This is like the Renaissance from what it seems like. Okay, so Obsession, it was written and directed by Curry Baker. Curry Baker, this was his theatrical directorial debut. The movie has quite a few unknowns. The only actor that you will know in the movie is Andy Richter, and his role is very small. He's in a few scenes, but the stars are Michael Johnston, as Bear. That is the main lead. And Indy Navarrete. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Indy Navarrete as Nikki. She is the female lead. Also has Cooper Tomlinson and Megan Lawless. And this was made on a budget of $750,000. It has already made, in 2 weeks, it made north of $68 million. Once again, the budget was for $750,000. It has already taken in more than $68 million in North America in 2 weeks. And the crazy thing is, the second week box office gross was higher than the first week. It also unseated the Star Wars movie, Grogu and the Mandalorian. It unseated that Star Wars movie and took over #1. So it is doing bang up business. And I can understand why everybody was giving it great reviews. This is a movie. Listen, would I like to go see it again? I would like to go see it again just for, it was good. It was creepy. It was scary. It was unsettling. It was especially unsettling for women. If you go see it and you're a woman, it's unsettling. It is kind of like a mix of horror with some humor thrown in there. I've heard a lot of people saying that this is like a kind of a new genre of horror where it's incel horror, where you go in thinking, oh my gosh, the woman is going to be the villain, when in fact, that's absolutely not the case. Incel horror, from what I'm gathering, is when the male lead is this nice guy. Like he's just a nice guy. He's giving off like Labrador Retriever energy, like Golden Retriever energy, you know, like he's a good guy. So here's what the movie's about. So Bear is friends with Nikki. Bear wants to be more than just friends with Nikki, but Nikki, he can't get up the courage to ask her out. So what he does is he goes to this, not, I don't want to say witchcraft store, but he goes to this store that sells like crystals. He goes there to buy her a new necklace with a crystal. Instead, he sees this one wish willow. He sees that all you gotta do is break it and make a wish and your wish will come true. He makes the wish, and he wants Nikki to love him more than she loves anyone else in the world. And be careful what you wish for, because it backfires quite a bit. So it was, like I said, it was creepy, it was scary, I would say it was creepy and it was unsettling more than it was scary. Like there were a couple jump scares, but it was so creepy. I'm going to tell you, the absolute star of this movie is Indy Navarrete. She should 157% be in the discussion when it comes to awards season. She went so seamlessly from Nikki to Wish Nikki. When I say Wish Nikki, I mean like the Nikki that's cursed. There were scenes where I could not believe, like she would go from just being, you know, like normal Nikki, and then she would just be screaming. There was a couple scenes where I was actually like thinking, wait a minute, can I breathe? There was a little bit of tension, and not to give spoilers, but there was one scene where she was where Bear was sleeping, and you're thinking, where's she at? And she is hiding. She's standing in the corner. And it is so freaky. And then just how she maneuvers her way around the bedroom, like kind of sidewalking, and it, like, you would expect for there to be in that scene, for there to be like jump scares. But when I say it was even scarier because she was so freaky. Like, it was so creepy. Or another scene where she like walks backward. And I know you've seen people walk backward, not this. Like, literally, go on YouTube, type in Nikki walking backward in Obsession or something. Like, it's creepy. It is the creepiest thing I've seen in the movies in a long time. This was great. This was like, oh, this was a great movie. But here's the thing. A lot of people are going to go in, myself. I went in thinking, oh gosh, well, the villain in this is the woman who is now cursed. That's no. I'm going to tell you why. For me, Bear was the problem here. Bear was the villain, not Nikki. Here's the thing. Early on, Bear drops Nikki off at her house. They just had their friends. It's a group of four friends. They go out to trivia night, and she was drinking, so he drives her home. And they're talking, and she says, "Do you like me?" She comes right out and she says, "Do you like me?" And at that point, he could say, "I do." But instead, he doesn't say anything. So he makes this wish, and the wish that he makes, he doesn't make a wish to like better himself so that he can like ask her out. Or he doesn't say, I want the courage to be able to ask Nikki out. He doesn't do that. He says, I want Nikki to love me more than anyone else. And then he breaks it, and as soon as that happens, she changes like that. Like, she's right up at the window, and she's talking about like, how much she wants him to come in, or she wants to go over to his house. And she says something in that moment like, I don't want to be alone because my father is dying. And we'll talk about that later. So that's number one. Like, he had the chance to tell her how he feels. And instead, he didn't do that. He instead chose to put this curse on her, which then takes away her autonomy, her bodily autonomy. So she has no control. He has all the control on her. Okay? So number one, that's disgusting. Because as we see a little bit later on, she has no control over herself. And there's one scene where they get together, biblically, and he's enjoying it. But her face, if you see it, watch her face, because her face is dead. And I'm convinced that she is going between Nikki and Wish Nikki. And this isn't consensual. This is against her will. He is essaying her. So that's the biggest reason as to why he is the villain. Wish Nikki, like I said, there are times when Nikki, she'll go between Wish Nikki and pre-wish and after wish. And he's like, okay, he's okay with it. And there's other things too, when she'll do things that are just like, they're just like so out there that if somebody else did it, you would be like, I don't know that I can be okay with this, you know? But still, he's okay with it. Because here's the thing, I don't think he ever loved Nikki for Nikki. I think he just loved the idea of having a woman doing like only loving him, you know, because he was so socially awkward and he couldn't get a girlfriend, so he had to do this. There's also times whenever like his friend Ian would say, listen, I don't think it's cool that you're taking advantage. It looks like you're taking advantage of Nikki when she's going through a tough time, because there are times when she'll really act out, and he'll be okay with it, and he'll just stay with her. And they're like, what is wrong with you? And he'll get up, he'll dismiss it, and he'll get like kind of aggressive a little bit. Also, like I said, there's times when she slips in and out. And this is the worst example, because she's in bed and he's in bed. He gets up and he goes to leave the room, and she's like, where are you going? And he says, I forget what he says. I don't know if he says I'm going out or I'm going to take a shower or something like that. And she says in a very different voice, she says, kill me. And he's like, what? And she's like, he says, go back to sleep or something like that. And she's like, she's asleep. Don't wake her up. And then she says, pill me. I'm not going to say it again. Pill me. And he, instead of being upset by this and being like, oh my God, what have I done? He instead comes back and says the most disgusting thing he could have said. And he says, what is so wrong? What is so wrong with loving me? What is so wrong with loving me? She is pleading like this is the Nikki before the wish. This is the uncursed Nikki. And she's saying this. And all he can say is bring it back on himself and be like, what is so wrong with loving me? Oh, at that point I was like, nope. No. This guy is absolutely the victim. Also, I'm not going to give any big spoilers, but there's another female who you could tell likes Bear. And you can tell that he is kind of getting a little tired of Nikki, and you're thinking that he's kind of liking this other girl. And I'm not going to tell you what happens. It's a little gory, but something happens, and it's only after shit gets like real gets real bad, that he calls the number in the back of the One Wish Willow and is like, what should I do? And they were like, do you want to cancel your wish? And he's like, no, I want to alter it. So rather than being like, I want to cancel this, and I don't care if she doesn't love me, I just want her to be at peace, and I don't want her to be cursed anymore. He's like, I want to alter it. So he still wants her to be under this spell. He still wants to have control over her. And this is a girl that thought of him as a friend, as not just a friend, but as like a brother. And you just want to have control over her. And then on the phone, the employee, who, by the way, the voice is the voice of the director, Curry Barker. You hear him say something like, oh, why don't you talk to Nikki or something? And then you hear Nikki screaming, and it sounds like Nikki maybe before the curse, and she's screaming And he hangs up. He doesn't do anything else. He hangs up. And then the ending, this is a spoiler. I'm just going to say the spoiler. So, like, in order to end this, you can either, the person who made the wish either has to be unalived, or there could be like a wish made on another willow, One Wish Willow, to reverse that. He tries to have his friend Ian reverse it, but that doesn't work because he asks for like his wish was like to win $1 billion. And so this is a spoiler. So he goes, Bear goes back into the house where Nikki is, and he goes to the bathroom and he's going to unalive himself with a pew-pew. Doesn't do that. He takes some medication, a bunch of it, and he then passes. So he took this coward's way out, and so he's gone, and she then is out from the curse, and she's sitting there, and Ian is dead, and there's three unalived people in the room. And so now she is out from the curse, and she probably will now face like the cops. She'll probably be thrown in jail, and she'll probably be convicted. So he puts her under this spell. All this shit, all these crimes are done. He's gone. He's gone. And now she's left to have to deal with everything that she did, some of it of which she did when she was under a curse. You think cops are going to believe that? Hey, I was under a curse when I did this. Sure. I'm going to tell you once again, if you go see this movie and you do not come out saying that Bear was the villain and fuck Bear, I don't know what movie you were saying, because she wasn't the villain. It was him. See what I'm saying? It's unsettling. It was unsettling, and it was especially unsettling for women. So would I say go see this movie? Yes, absolutely go see this movie. If someone who does not really get into horror tells you to go see it, go see it. It's honestly, I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I really love this movie. This was a great movie, and I'm actually thinking of possibly seeing it again. So there we go. Obsession, it is a must-see, 2 thumbs up for me. So listen, if you saw Obsession, let me know what you thought. Let me know if you would see it. Also, just remember, if nobody told you yet today, you are loved, seen, and heard. Please make sure that you put love, kindness, compassion, acceptance, hope, and positivity out there in the world so it comes right back at you. Please, let's treat others the way we would want to be treated. Also, be aware of your surroundings, be smart and safe. I drank no water during this. So let's hydrate with some water. And if you're in a dangerous situation, please always know that Dolly and I are sending our love, thoughts, prayers, and positive energy your way so you make it through. Also, in case you didn't notice, she's back. That's correct. We finally got the clock back. So that, if you missed it, it's back. If you didn't miss it, it's back. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Bye.